Hi everyone, this is Elena of the Witches Box, and I'm here today with another episode of Witch Booktube. And today is a whole different thing. It's kind of a quickie, I don't want to say fluff, but it's not a book to read. It's actually a book reading journal, which, oh my God, come on. It's called a Clockwork Reader. It's a journal, and a Clockwork Reader is actually a YouTube booktuber who I will link her account and her channel down below. She doesn't do anything at all remotely related to books on witchcraft at all. I think that she's probably predominantly like a fiction YA reader. I'm actually not sure. I've seen her channel like a long time ago, once in a while. Like I don't actually watch her channel, and that's not even remotely like a commentary on the quality at all. I think it's phenomenal quality, but you know, I'm always like in the witchy books. But actually I found this through another booktuber who was doing a review on this, and I bought it and I loved it and I wanted to bring it to you. So I will link to a Clockwork Reader down below, and I will also link to this book down below. I'll show you again. But this is why I wanted to show this to you, because there have been questions that have come up in terms of like, how do you track your books, right? And I've spoken often about how I love Goodreads. If you don't know what Goodreads is, I have a link down below to my Goodreads page. So scroll down in the description box, and down below you'll see my personal Goodreads profile. It is for me my most favorite social media platform ever, because everyone is there for one thing. We talk about books, we share books, we look at books, we like link to books, we mark books as things that we want to read. You have a to be read pile. There's that whole yearly reading challenge that I try to do and try to make, you know, like actually reach my goals. There's all these things going on there, but it's all related to books. It's not the dumpster fire of Facebook or the hot bot mess of Instagram that it's now becoming. It's just a bunch of people who love books and gather there for the love of books. So I'm on Goodreads, and that's how I mark down or keep track of the books that I've read throughout the year, right? Each year, there's a whole new list of the things that I've read. You can put things in different shelves, like, you know, your top 5 books of the year, or you can create all these different categories. There's a lot that you can do there. And that's how I've been tracking what I read. However, it's on a platform, right? It's on the computer. It's in the whirlwind of the internets and the clouds and the things. It's not a concrete written thing. And I have often thought about like, what would be a really cool book of shadow / journal page that we can like design and create and give to you. And I think that we've actually put one out in the past. But for that, you'd have to do like copy after copy after copy. You'd have to paste it in a book, or you'd have to put it in a plastic sleeve, which can be fun, but it's not as cool and convenient as a book. Now, there are a lot of book journals out in the world, and I've looked at many. So this is not like a new thing for me. It's not like I found this and it was like a one and done. I fell in love and I wanted to share it with you. I have looked at many, and all of them have fallen short except for this one. You're going to see why I love this one so much. Most of the time, they're either in binders, or when you get a book journal, they don't have enough pages for things to write down, or they don't have enough in a book. So in this book, you have enough pages for 100 different books that you can write down and review or make notes on for yourself, which I think is great, because for most of us, 100 books in a year is kind of a lot. I'm at like between 98 and 104. Every year I try to hit 104. But what I loved is that there's enough chunkiness in here that you can get a lot of books. But let me show you the inside. First, it's this gorgeous chartreuse color that I love. And then it looks like, and it's been designed as almost like a bullet journal, which, you know, is it's my total game. So this is her note to you. It's got that really cool bullet journal vibe. It's very beautifully illustrated. Each page, again, is a work of art, but you can write. So this is a sample page of what you can do with each of your pages. This is a sample page of how you would document a book that you read, but she filled it in for you so that you can see how you can do it. The idea here is that you read a book, you write about it. This is another sample page, because there's also another spread for your favorite books and more books that you love. And this is her example of how you might fill it out. Again, I'll show you those in the blank, but here is another version of a favorite book list. which I think was beautiful because each year you can grab a copy of this, a blank copy of this, and write down your entire reading journey for the year. And then it doesn't have it on the spine here, but if you have a really cool label maker, then you can just label it for the reading year that you had this record for. And then you can have this on a shelf. So you have the books for 2021, the books for 2022, books for 2023. I love, love, love this. Check out this. Reading stats, reading goals. So this is at the beginning of the book. This is a to be read list so that you can keep track of all those books and not do what Elena does, which is have like, I don't know, 100 massive piles of books where I can't even see what's in those piles anymore. I can't even talk about it. Struggle is real. So it's got quite a few pages for your to be read pile so that if you're like, me, and you're greedy about the amount of books that you really want to read, you have a lot of space to write that. I really love this. I think that this can be so amazing. What to read next? Not sure what to read next? Use these prompts to help you decide on your next read. And then it's a series of kind of journal questions to kind of help you decide what it is that you really want to read next. This is so well done, so beautifully illustrated. She did a beautiful job. It's artsy, it's colorful, each page is engaging, and then here we get into the meat of the book. Most of the book is this. Right? Where you put the title, you put like how many star ratings you gave to the book. There's a section here for the date you started, the date you finished, the genre, the number of pages, who it was recommended by, the author, the narrator, what was your favorite quote from that book? Where were you when you read this book? Most memorable scene? Would you recommend this book and why? What did you learn from this book? And then you've got page after page of this for up to 100 books. And then every once in a while you get a really lovely quote and another illustration like this. So beautiful. I think it's sweet. I think it's really very functional. It gives you enough room to write the salient points that you got from a book, but also a way to keep a record that's a hard copy, as opposed to, we always kind of live in fear of like, oh my God, the day that like something like Goodreads just goes off the air. Goes off the air is kind of a really archaic reference, but it goes away. You lose all of that data, but you've got it here. I mean, also there are, and I've talked about this, I think before in one of these videos, where you can do spreadsheets, right? You can do a spreadsheet on your own computer to navigate through and keep a record of everything that you've read and all of these different details. But a spreadsheet's kind of boring, you know what I'm saying? For a while, and I think that you can probably still find it, Evernote, which I love, I don't use as much anymore, but Evernote is a great platform that you can get specific note-taking templates for. And I think for a while they had one for a book journal so that you can kind of jot down the books that you read and all this information about each book that you read. I don't remember now if that's still around. But there are ways that you can do that digitally on your computer so that you have a digital copy of that, which is also important, right? Because you can also lose your books. But I love this. I love this because if you're not only a reader, but also you love to write in journals, this super satisfies that. Love it. Love it. So at the end, after you've got all of these pages to write down each individual book that you've read, there is another section that I'm trying to find like this. Your favorite authors. And this is just your favorite authors, but I would actually use this as my favorite authors of the year, right? Because in my dream world, I would fill one of these out each year because I read a high volume of books each year. And you've got several pages for that. And then your favorite quotes, several pages for that, right? So you have ample room. What I have found with a lot of these book journals is that you do not have enough room for any of the things that you'd probably want to write more about. This gives you a good amount of that. And then here, which I love, is the most anticipated book releases that you can jot down along with the dates that those books are going to be released so that you can track that. This is so well done. I mean, obviously, this is a woman who reads a lot. She has her own Booktube channel, incredibly successful Booktube channel. She's got a massive following. She knows what she's going to want to do in a book like this to track her book reading. And you can tell she's done it in a really beautiful way, a way that for me, this is the first time I've ever picked up a book journal that felt like, yes, this is the one. Then she's got here, I love this, books to reread. How many of you reread your books? There are books that I reread. Favorite childhood books? Look at how sweet. This is my intention. My intention is to do one of these every single year. Book to screen, right? Books that you've read that have been turned into film. Favorite movies, favorite TV shows. Very sweet. I love this as a diary for each year. I think that this is fantastic. And it doesn't have to be every year. Don't feel like the pressure that you need to be reading 100 books a year. That's just madness. It's a lot of books. Although if you can and you want to do it, it's amazing. So you can have one of these books that you just have until you fill it out and then do another one. So it's not like you have to have this pressure. I don't want to add pressure to all of you where you feel like, oh God, I got to fill this whole book up in a year. You don't. I want to, but you don't have to. Reading playlist. I cannot get enough of this. When I got this in the mail, I was so giddy. And I was going to set some time aside to start filling it out because at this point, we're in the middle of February. I think maybe I've read about 12 books this year so far, maybe. I'm a little slow this year, but I wanted to dive in, but I just didn't have time yet. But I think this weekend I'm going to sit down and start to fill this out. Really lovely. This is a photo of her. Lovely. And again, I will post a link to her channel down below. I'm going to read you her bio really quick. Hannah Azerang, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a content creator focusing on books, journaling, and self-care. Her YouTube channel, A Clockwork Reader, has more than 350,000 subscribers who all share her passion for reading. Her content explores her love of storytelling in books, television, music, and journaling, as well as her own personal stories and experiences. Away from YouTube, you can find Hannah on her Instagram account at clockwork_reads, traveling, practicing the piano, or roaming a bookstore in her home state of California. So there you go. Lovely. I highly recommend it. This is a great way to document your reading journey throughout the years, whichever, in a way that really just feels very satisfying in terms of how beautifully it's illustrated, but also a space to write these things down and really keep a record of what you've read and when, and what your thoughts were about it. So here's we're doing a little something different today, but I thought this is definitely worth sharing with all of you because it's still revolving around the beautiful art form that is a book. So that's it. If you have other book journals, I'd love to hear about that. If you want to go ahead and share that down below. If you know of Clockwork Reader, if you've used this book, I'd love to hear about your experience with it as well. And I will be back next week with another book review. That's it. Have a wonderful day. Bye.